Господине амбасадоре, какви се очекувањата или вашите сознанија за извештајот кој што треба да биде објавен за Македонија на почетокот на март, можеби помеѓу 2 и 4 март? Дали вие очекувате позитивен извештај за Македонија?
Well, let me explain a bit why this report is coming now in March. You know that last May we issued a regular report with the recommendation to open negotiations with North Macedonia. In October, the leaders didn't take a decision on this, but they asked Commission to prepare a new way of negotiations, a new methodology as we call it. Commission prepared it and it's now up to the Member States to discuss it and approve it. Since last report was issued in May, Member States are asking now for an update what was done in the country from last May until March, let's say, in the area of reforms and the situation in the country. So this report is now coming up in March. I don't think there will be any surprises in that report. President of the Commission very recently said, when presenting methodology, that we reaffirm the recommendation for North Macedonia to open negotiations. So I expect that will be repeated in the report. All the reforms that were done will be mentioned, including the very important last ones that were done until the very last day of the Assembly, including the public prosecution law. Of course, there are still issues that could have been done. There is special implementation of laws. Maybe things could have been done better. But all conditions were met, and I believe that this will be reflected in the report that will come out. And then, of course, it will be up to the Member States to take both reports, one on the country and the other one on methodology and the new way of doing negotiations, and discuss them and take a decision.
Многу важно за Македонија е што ќе одлучи Советот на 26 март. Всушност, дали сите земји членки ќе дадат зелено светло по извештајот. И другата работа е и пред извештајот дали сите земји членки ќе се согласат да биде позитивен. Ние сега сме во страв. Колку можеме навистина да очекуваме дека ќе дадат зелено светло, зашто тоа одлука ќе биде најбитна за Македонија кон крајот на март?
Yes, I agree, and we share the fear, if I can say. And because in October we were so convinced that we will open negotiations, I think we are now a little bit more conservative in raising expectations. It's up to Member States. The signals that are coming from Member States are positive ones, including from the President Macron in Munich last week. But still we'll have to see what the Member States will decide. They will have our report of the Commission, which will present the case for the country, focusing on the reforms that were done on the rule of law, on the anti-corruption, and on security services. And the Member States will have a new methodology, a new way of doing negotiations. The thing that they asked, the document that they asked last October, and the basis of those documents they will take a decision. So I think it's only 1 month away, and the best is that we wait and see and hope that the Member States will follow a recommendation of the European Commission, which is that negotiations should be open.
Ова е позитивното сценарио. Меѓутоа, ако пак Македонија не добие овој пат повторно зелено светло, тоа ќе значи дека оваа земја може и да се засили евроскептицизмот и ќе биде ставена под знак прашање и иднината на земјата. Сепак се грижили Европската комисија, земјите членки, дека можеби геостратешки и не е добро да се случи тоа.
I wouldn't want to speak or speculate about negative scenarios and consequences, but rest assured that the European Commission and Member States are pretty aware of the situation in the country, and they're pretty aware of consequences of decision or lack of decisions.
Она што сепак загрижува е и фактот што сме во пакет со Албанија. За таму имаме информации дека под посебен мониторинг се ставени во делот на правосудството на она што се случи со нивните суди и Холандија сепак бара повеќе. Што ако пак нивниот извештај не е задоволителен и позитивен за разлика од извештајот за нашата земја?
Well, first, when Commission presented methodology a month ago, they said they reaffirmed recommendation for opening of negotiations with North Macedonia and with Albania. Commission is still on the line, or it's on the line that both countries deserve to open negotiations because of the reforms that were done in each of the countries, different reforms, but in Albania especially focusing on the vetting in judicial system. So I don't expect that the report for Albania will be different from this expectation. Second, it's a merit-based process. So yes, you are together with Albania, but you will be assessed on your own, as it's always the merit-based process. I don't think you will be delayed because of the other country. And last, I think it's in everybody's interest that both countries move forward. I think if both countries move forward, open negotiations, I think it will bring an optimism into the region that is very needed, optimism. So I think we should look how positive it will be also for you as the country if your neighbor will have this positive push and will look toward the future rather than being disillusioned and look backwards. So we are hoping that the member states will take the right decision and open negotiations with North Macedonia.
Второто загрижувачко прашање е како ќе се справи земјата со новата методологија. Се уште не е сосема јасно во однос на пристапувањето кон НЕИЗЕ, меѓутоа се гледа сега дека во Европската комисија е некако прифатена веќе од сите земји и охрабруваат дека е подобра на некој начин. Колку навистина е реално дека новата методологија има и добри страни, а да не ги гледаме само лошите страни од методологијата. Лошите страни се дека ќе не враќаат назад и е реверзибилен процесот доколку не успееме да ги совладаме пречките кон патот што таа ни го дава.
The main aim of this new methodology was to make to inject a fresh blood into the negotiations, to give a new impetus into the negotiations. Because if we are frank, nobody was happy with negotiations. Candidates, Serbia and Montenegro, believe that they're not moving fast enough, that they're negotiating 6 and 8 years and still they are not close to the European Union. On the EU side, also, there was a feeling that the countries are negotiating but not really changing. So that's why this methodology is trying to change that, to make negotiations more dynamic, more credible, more predictable, and also more political, meaning that you can move faster if you do more. Instead of what was the notion before, less reform and you don't move anywhere, slow process, less reform, that we will have a faster process for more reforms. And the fact that, yes, you could move backwards, but you also can move, you'll have additional funds if you move faster. You will have access to the table of the European Union on the issues that you will close, the chapters that you will close. So this is a new incentive that we hope will encourage leaders to do more reforms. And if they do more reforms, then also European Union will, the negotiations will go faster. As you said, we'll have to see how it goes. This is now a proposal on the paper. We still have to wait for member states to approve this. But it seems that it meets general expectations. So we hope that member states will approve it now in March. And then we'll put it to the test, I hope as soon as possible, with your country.
Меѓутоа, две работи ме загрижуваат со новата методологија. Едната е пристапните фондови, кои онака во Македонија за жал немаше подготвеност, ИПА фондовите и барањата за нив да се сработат како што треба за да бидат добиени, а овој пат ако има реверзибилен процес, значи дека Македонија секако ќе остане со помалку пари од Европската унија, бидејќи со новата методологија не се предвидени никакви други средства. Дали Македонија има шанса ако напредува во поглавијата паралелно да биде наградувана и со ИПА фондови?
Yes, I think that's the proposal in the methodology that if you move faster in opening chapters, working on chapters, you will get additional funds from IPA. You will not have access to the structural funds, which was initial proposal, but you'll get additional funds from IPA. What you're referring is probably the IPA 3 that is planning for the next period of assistance, where the proposal is that there will not be national allocations like we have now, around 90 million per year for your country, but that the countries will need to compete, and those who will be prepared with projects will also get more funds. I think we're preparing for that scenario. I think we are in this year. Next year we'll be working with your country on preparing the projects for the time when this new way of distribution will enter. So I'm not concerned for the funds coming from the EU for your country. I think we'll probably be seeing the same amount. But with the negotiations, I think there is a possibility of additional funds. Like now you're getting 50 million, we called it performance award. For all the reforms that were done, Commission added 50 million to 90 million that you're getting. So this is coming this year, and funds like this might be coming during negotiations as well to encourage reforms. I think the new process is done in the way that we want to encourage reforms, because if you do reforms faster, then everything goes faster, to reverse the trend when everything goes slower. Reforms are slow, so also negotiations are slowing down.
Втората работа што загрижува беше прашањето односот на соседите земји членки на Европската унија кон земјата која што е кандидат. И во преговорите колку, например, може Бугарија да стави вето или пак Грција доколку не се спроведат нештата од договорот. Сега ми е подискутабилно и прашањето со Бугарија, до сега не сме имале проблеми, меѓутоа во последно време се гледа дека и од таму доаѓаат неповолни ветришта во однос на договорот со Бугарија.
I hope that with your neighbor Bulgaria that you will continue to work on bilateral issues. You have agreement on good neighborly relations. You have working groups and historic commission that should continue to work, and I believe if the agreement continues to be implemented, then there is no then I think that Bulgaria will continue to support you in the enlargement process.
Проблемот е со нивните услови.
In the methodology that that the Commission proposed, you would also see that Commission is appealing to avoid bringing bilateral issues into the negotiations. This is of course for member states then to discuss. But I think the best to solve issues is to deal bilaterally and to try to solve the problems bilaterally. With Greece, I think it's differently, because in the Prespa agreement, certain issues are linked with negotiations. And especially change of certain documents, internal documents, are linked to opening certain chapters in negotiations. So there the link is very obvious. But of course, we have to be aware that good neighborly relations are very important for negotiations with the European Union. European Union future of your country stands on three pillars: on doing reforms, on good neighbor, on elections that are coming to be good and fair, and everything else, and on continue to implement good neighborly relations with Bulgaria and with Greece. I mean, we have to be aware that the process, European process of the country depends on further implementation of Prespa agreement and Bulgaria treaty.
Дали стравувате дека по изборите, доколку дојде партија на власт која што во кампањата го оспорува преспанскиот договор, се обиде нешто да смени, тогаш очигледно ќе биде и прекинат патот кон Европската унија, што доколку тоа се случи по изборите?
Look, we don't vote in your elections. People vote, citizens vote, they take a decision, and we will respect the decision they will make. We will work, cooperate with the government that will come in place after the elections. I think this is very clear. I was just in Probistip and visiting high school students, and it was really encouraging to talk to these kids. I hope that kids like them will vote at the elections, because they're very clear. They see the problems and issues very clearly. They didn't mention problems with Prespa. They don't think this is the biggest problem they have. The biggest problems for them are migration of young people. The problem is how they can stay at home rather than being pushed out to go abroad. Problem is education, that they're not happy. Environment. So these are the issues that they are bringing up, and I hope that this will be the issues of the campaign, and that some of the political leaders will listen to them. One student over there said today, he said, the only way we as the country to succeed is for us to be united and not divided on ethnic, religious, or political along political lines. I mean, it's beautiful that a young person can be so wise and actually teach all of us what is the way forward, because precisely this is the way forward. But yeah, so that's, I think, that I can say. On Prespa, I said already that it is ingredient part of implementation of not only Prespa but also Bulgarian agreement. Good neighborly relations in general is integral part of the future, European future of the country, and the country will progress as long as it will continue to implement those agreements and respect its own constitution.
И за крај, што се очекувањето од самитот во Загреб? Тој ќе биде повеќе за економија, помалку за проширување, меѓутоа секако за меѓусебна соработка на земјите членки и Западен Балкан. Дали тој би значил само потврда за Македонија, доколку добие зелено светло на крајот на март, да се потврди одлуката и затоа е многу битен за почеток на преговори?
The decision on the opening of the negotiations should be done before Zagreb Summit. Zagreb Summit will be focused on different issues, as you said, on the economy. Zagreb Summit follows only 1 year after Sofia Summit, and so now you see that European Union is paying much more attention to Western Balkans. The leaders of the European Union met recently with all leaders of the Western Balkans. I mean, it was the first time that President of the Council, President of the Commission, and the High Representative would meet with all leaders at the very beginning of the mandate. So that's encouraging, because you see that attention in Brussels is for the Western Balkans. And Zagreb Summit is meant to focus on economic and investment plan for the region, because this is important ingredient of bringing people to look forward rather than backwards.
Амбасадор, ви благодарам многу за интервјуто.
Thank you very much. Благодарам.